Hey everyone, it's Robb from Ready to Roll, and you're here for this month in miniatures, where we take a look at what I built and painted last month for my Warhammer and D&D minis. Let's take a look. Alright, so let's first take a look at what I built in January. So you can see a lot of Bone Reapers here. I built the Feast of Bones box, so I got Black Mortian. I left his, little, tomb back off, whatever the hell you want to call it. Just pops in there nicely. I built the 3 Stalkers, didn't give any of them the Dread Falchion, didn't really seem like a good idea. Archive with Halberds, and I got 2 units of Mortec. The 10 with swords were from the box, and I had another box of 20, threw spears on them. Not the most optimal, but, can't deny that these guys look pretty sick. Definitely loving the new builds from GW. All the models are coming out with now have a nice amount of detail, but it's also an intimidating amount of detail. So I think when I go to paint these guys, probably going to opt for contrast for the most part. Obviously, metal bits will be with normal metallics, but I'm thinking Skeleton Horde for the bone, whatever the black, I think it's Black Templar for the shields. And I haven't decided on like the cloth color and stuff, but I'm thinking, pretty basic black bone, 1 or 2 more accent colors and metallics for these guys. And obviously built the Endless Spells, Soul Stealer Carrion, the whatever the hell that thing's called, I forget exactly what it is. And then the Nightmare Predator. I love this model. I mean, I wish this was an actual, in-game piece, not just an endless spell. I'll probably end up using it for something in a D&D campaign, to be honest, once it's all painted up, just because I think this thing looks terrifying and awesome. And then on the 40k front, I just put together, a couple easy-to-build Hellblasters, and a few easy-to-build Intercessors. The rest of these groups of 5 I built at the end of the year, so that's why they're not here. And then I did some work for my White Scars. So first up, this is the Biker Sergeant for Biker Unit with Combi Mota. The hairpiece is from either a Hellion or a Reaver from the Dark Eldar line. And I was like, oh hey, ponytail flowing in the wind. That works out perfectly. And you notice these guys are blue tagged onto their bases because I'm doing their bases separately, which is atypical for me. But for pavement, I really wanted to be able to get them nice and cool. You can see a little bit more. This is my Smash Captain on bike. You can see on the back side, some of the lines. This is a prototype base I did. I might redo it. But, he's got the shield. He's got the hammer. Doesn't have a helmet. It's not focusing. There we go. So overall, pretty happy. Definitely need to clean up some of this model. And then I kit bashed a jump Stormseer or Librarian. So this guy's a bunch of different bits. So the legs are from the Space Wolf pack. I had to chop off a bit of a thing there, like a wolf tail there. The plasma pistol gun is awkward looking. It looks awkwardly long. I forget that hand and the arm aren't meant to go together. Then his staff was a Space Wolf, either Thunderhammer or Frost Axe. And then the skull piece is actually from, I want to see the Bulgor set for Beast of Chaos. Same with the crow. I think it's from the Cygor Gorgon set. I thought it worked nice. And then I put the little kind of semi-Crozius piece on top. Top of his jump pack is an absolute mess. I need to clean that up. And the face is also, I want to say, Space Wolf. So, I mean, this is a 1 a.m. kit bash. Wanted to get a librarian for my White Scars that are slowly growing. But yes, that's what I built in January. Probably build a little bit less in February, but do more painting. But let's take a look at what I've painted so far. Alright, so for painting, you can see I did not paint anywhere near as much. I think that was a total of 48 models built, and this is a total of 4 models painted. If you want to get snippy, you can see the Nobler on top is a 5th. But let's take a look at these guys. So these are 3 of my Ogres, Ogre Command for my Gluttons. They are the last 3 of my big unit of 12. That has Iron Fist because I built these back from the original Ogre Kingdoms box. Pretty basic scheme. I'm not doing really too much edge highlighting. Ulthuan Gray for one side of the pants. I forget the exact blue I'm using for the blue on that side, but I'll figure it out. Abaddon Black Boots, Lead Belcher for all the metal bits. I alternate between, what is it? Something and something. I'm using 2 different cloth colors. That's Balthazar gold there. You can see in the eyes. Some kind of gray for the stones. And then I'm using Screamer Pig for the nipples and the lips, so that, somewhat inappropriate. And then also, brushing the sword a little bit with Stormhost Silver to make it look like it's nice and used. And you can see over here, this is the whatever the sergeant equivalent is, kind of the same deal. I think I made the opposite like blue on him from the other two, just so you know who's the boss. He gets to wear his blue on the other side. He's got that big iron claw. That's actually a iron gut weapon that was converted, over a decade ago when they came out, almost a decade and a half ago, to be one-handed, and just put a little, thing on the bottom because it look like it's not just being held from the bottom. He has an extra cleaver, extra knives, why not? He's the big boss. He's got a couple little crappy little tufts on there. I think they're like old Morheim tufts. And then we have the standard bearer, kind of the same thing. Overall, he's got that Noblar up top. Noblar is actually from the new scrap launcher Iron Blaster kit. I built an Iron Blaster and had a bunch of the Noblar left over. And that guy, he's got a whatchamacallit? He's got a telescope. So, he should be good at calling out the artillery and the weapons that are coming in. He is a lookout Noblar. And you can see my awful freehand on that banner. But, we're going to get there. The basing is all Vallejo brown earth texture, which I absolutely love, with just a bunch of Agrics plopped on top of it. And then I just do, Abaddon back around the bases. So that's the ogres. I'm going to be doing a lot more of them. But then this is, a Necron. This is actually from my girlfriend's army. She has a Necron army she's starting to do. And she was trying to figure out a paint scheme. So I was like, all right, tell me what colors, tell me what you're thinking, and we'll paint one up as we go. So I put this guy together. It was actually a lot of fun to paint. Lead Belcher Prime, Lead Belcher layer over that, Known Loyal all over. And it's also Balthazar Gold for the gun. I forget exactly what green. That might be Cableite or Cerebite green for the wires there. We did a watered down Abaddon for the kind of black ribbed wire. And then, again, I forget what blue it is. It's a different blue than one of my ogres, but you can see it has the head stripe there and the shoulder pads on the back. She's really happy with it. I'm pretty happy with it. I think she'll do a good job. She painted up one, looks just like it. So, it's definitely a paint scheme that she'll do because she's just starting her painting journey. Not that I'm far along myself, but it's something that she can definitely do and she's really happy with. So I'm excited to see her continue to paint and get awesome results. So now let's take a look at what I'm trying to do next month. Alright, and this is what's on the paint table for February. Don't know if I'll get up through all of it in February, but between February and March I'm hoping to get all of this done. Because this, combined with the Gluttons and a Butcher that I have completed, will actually get me to 1,000 points, along with the Maw Pot and the Balin Vortex. I also need to paint up those two, but they're not primed, so I'm not going to throw them in here right now. But these are the things that are, a little bit bigger for me to get done. So, of course, I have the old Tyrant, who I have converted a little bit. He had the big hammer from before. But obviously the new Tyrant has the Thunder Mace, the Beast Slayer Glaive, I think it's called, and pistols. So a pistol from the Iron Blaster Scrap Launcher Kit, the spear from the Frost Lord Thunder Tusk Stonehorn Kit, whatever it is. I ended up making a Huskard and Thunder Tusk, so I didn't need it. And then the sword at top is actually just an old Glutton sword that used to be glued right to his hand, because the sword that came with his arm actually was used for a different conversion. So he's WYSIWYG now, as it were. I need to clean him up a little bit. I think he needs a little bit of repriming, because you can see some spots there not so good. And I've since added the spear, so just another light spray, get him close to where he needs to be. Then I got a bunch of Noblar. I have 19 here because I have one completed already. This is the completed one, so you can see pretty basic paint scheme. Not trying to do anything crazy with these little guys. And I actually have 4 in progress. This guy's painted and washed. He just needs basing, and then to have the base reblacked, the rim reblacked. Same with this guy. I love that they have the broken Chaos Shields. One of my friends just picked up Sleeves of Darkness with Chaos Warriors. So I'm like, oh, hey, look at that. Obviously, I've won at least a few battles against you. So that's that. And then kind of the same deal with the Iron Guts and the Lead Belchers. So the Iron Guts, again, I have kind of my full command here. That's the Gut Lord, the Rune Maw Bearer. And you'll notice these are broken off because I used to have things glued to them when I was, 14 and dumb. And the whatever they're called, the Screamers. And then I have a guy already painted up, kind of a test model for them. So, you know, kind of same, two different Pantones, you know, the same boots, same armor, you know, mixed in a few other types of metallics, just because these guys are obviously a little more fancy. You know, I wish this thing would focus on this guy a little bit better. But hey, you know, overall, it's not too much different from the Gluttons. And the same with the Lead Belchers. They don't have the Bellower. That's what it's called. They don't have Bellowers anymore, which is good because I really don't have a guy that works well for a Bellower. I do have, you know, this guy's kind of doing whatever. This guy kind of has his hand in front of his mouth with the little Nolar on his shoulder. And then I have this guy who is the leader of my Lead Belchers. You'll notice he has an additional cannon on his back. That's an old Empire cannon that my older brother had an extra bit of when we were building these. Again, what was it, like 15 years ago when these things came out. And he was like, oh, hey, you know, stick it on this guy's back, throw some stuff in there, you know. He has 2 cannons. Why not? So, and also have a test one done of them. So, this is the Lead Belcher. I did red and yellow. Probably gonna stick with red, yellow, oranges for these guys' pants. I know red and white is very reminiscent of the old Empire, but for me, I don't know, for some reason I like red and yellow better. So that's kind of where that's coming from. Obviously, still gotta have the cleaver on the belt, even though they bludgeon with their giant cannons. And the cannon, I think, was just Lead Belcher, and then I washed it over with Black Templar contrast, and then I just dry brushed it again with Lead Belcher. You know, all the weapons I did separately. Not a lot of contrast on these guys, just the occasional black over metal. And then the other thing I kind of got to do, I don't think I have to do it, but I want to do it, is my Butcher. Look at him. He's all done, painted up, nice and bloody. But he's on a 40 millimeter. So I actually finished this guy like the week before the Battle Tome for the Ogres came out, which was fine until we noticed, oh, all the pictures of the Butcher have a 50 mil base, and then eventually they're like, oh yeah, we're updating it. It's now 50 mil officially. So I don't think I have to change them, especially because it's like a friendly doubles tournament. But I do want to get him over to a 50 at some point. So he'll probably be after everything else is painted. But he is eventually going to need to go to the chopping block, as it were. Because he's metal, he's hefty, and he's currently pinned to his base. So that's going to be a bit of an issue to get him off. But it shouldn't be too bad in the end. And he'll have a nice, larger base, all the better to smash more people with. So that is what I'm looking to get done in the upcoming month. So again, that is this month in minis. Alright, so that was this month in minis. Thanks for joining me and looking at what I built and painted in January. Hopefully February is a little more fruitful on the painting side, so I can get that 1K Ogre list done for the April tournament. Until next time, guys, I'm Robb from Ready to Roll. Stay awesome.